Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Olumide here, and in this video I'm going to show you how we can create these cool looking cards in Figma. You can see the card. When I hover on the card, it expands, and when I remove my cursor, it goes back to the normal size. So we are going to learn how to create this with Figma using interactive components, right? And this is one of the cool things you can do when you learn or when you master Figma components. So this is just like this, one of the smallest things you can do when you learn how to use Figma components. And you can also use it to create interactive components like this, because these are interactive components. So the interaction is when I move, the card is interacting with me, is responding to the movement of my mouse. So that's why we call it interactive component. So you'll be able to create this when you master Figma components. You'll be able to use to create interactive components and Figma prototypes, right? So yeah, without saying too much, let us get into the video. Okay, so here I have my own version of this design. I created the design again from the one I showed you on the web. So I also have a screenshot of the design here, which I took from my browser. So I only created the hero section because that's just the pattern. And what you can see here is just static cards. You can't interact with this one just yet. So we are going to try to create the components. Then we'll now replace this with the new component that we're going to create. And I have also gotten the 3 images. They are here. So I'm going to create a separate file where I will place these images. Then I will attach the link to this video so that you can use the images if you want to follow along. Yeah, so let's get into it. So what I will do first is create. So we need to measure things. So if you notice, when you hover on the card, it expands. So that is to tell you that this card has 2 states. So majorly when you want to do interactions like that in Figma, you are always going to think about where you're coming from and where you're going. So I mean, the card, the way it looks now is where you're coming from, and what you want it to do is where you are going to. So you need to understand that this then the for the card to expand, that means it's changing state. So it's not like it's just expanding like in a magical way, it's just changing state. So definitely this card has 2 states, maybe the default and hover state. So this is probably the default state and this is the hover state, or maybe collapsed and expanded state, as the case may be. Whichever one you call it is fine. So in our case, we are going to recreate the card. So I only created this way so that I can use the measurement here to create for the purpose of this video. So I'm not going to touch this one. So I'm just going to come down here. Then I'll bring this first image. Let me just make a duplicate so that I don't delete, because I'm still going to need that image. So if you don't know how to create, if you cannot create this on your own, then you need to watch like some of my previous videos that I have created some landing pages and hero sections. So I explained it in details. You can just take time to watch it, then come back to this one. So first of all, we are going to create this first one. So we just majorly need one of them. Then when we create one of them, then we can, although we can create the 3, but the first one is always going to be the most important. So what I will do now, so there are so many ways, there are so many approaches to this. So I can't go over all of the methods that you can use to create this, but I'm just going to create the one that I feel is simpler and easy to understand. So I'm going to create an auto layout frame, right? I'm going to create an auto layout frame. So I'm just going to create a frame first before an auto layout frame. So I'll pick my frame 2, then I'll draw out the frame. So as you can see, that frame is filled with white, right? So I want to get the measurement of this. So I have 502 and 590. So I'm going to match the size of this frame to what I just showed you just now. So 502 to 590. So this is the size, and it has a rounded corner of 20 pixels. The rounded corner is this, the corner radius. So then as you can see, the fill of this shape of this frame rather is white. So let's call it picture first. So the fill is white. So what we do is, because a picture is also a type of fill, so when you want to fill an image or a shape, with a color. You can either fill it with a solid color, gradient, picture, image, or video. So because this is a type of fill, because I don't want to export it and now import it into this, so I'm not going to place this picture inside it. Rather, I will fill this shape. I will replace this white fill with the picture. So this is what I mean. So I'm going to click this image, then I'll come right here, just this empty space beside the image. I'll just click it, then I'll select it, then I'll copy, Ctrl C, or I right click. I don't think I can right click, but just press Ctrl C to copy. Then I'll come to picture, I'll just paste Ctrl V. Then you notice that the picture is um, on top of the field, the white field. So I'm just going to remove the white field and I'm going to be left with the image. So now I've been able to bring this image into this frame. So let's check the second frame. This which is the second frame that we need to know the size. This is 160 and 590. So I'm going to make a duplicate of this and I'm going to call this 160. Right, I'm going to change the width to 160 just like that. Right, so now we are going to make a little trick here. So when the image is expanded, we want it to zoom out a bit, and when it's collapsed, we want it to zoom in a bit. So we are going to click here, then I'll change this, I'll leave this as fill. Right, I'm going to leave this as fill, and I'll come here, I'll change this to crop because I want this to okay. So this is looking like the normal what's it called, the normal size of the image. So let's take this one back to the normal size of the image. So because we said fill, it has kind of made the image to fill the shape. Okay, so I think we are good to go. This is okay. So what we want to do here is when it expands, we want this lady to be right in the middle, and then we want it to zoom out a bit. So what I'll do here, so before I change anything, I'm going to make a duplicate of this, so that we'll use it for the second image. So I'll come here, I'll change this to crop. Right, then I'll see a little excess part of the image. Sometimes you might not see that. So in the case where you don't see it, what we just do, which is a faster method, is to just drag this image down a bit, then place it a little bit to the right so that it sits right in the middle of the frame. Then I'm now going to scale this out. So if I want to scale it out, I can't use the scale to here, but I'll use another method to scale it. So I will hold my shift and alt at the same time so that it will scale across the whole four corners of the image. So I'll just scale it like this. So I just want it to have this little zoom effect, that's all. So you can see that when it's here and when it's here, this one is looking like it's zoomed in a bit than this. So that's what we want to achieve. And we're going to test this out actually. So before we go to the second one, let's just test it out so that we'll be sure that this thing we are trying to do is going to work, right? So we're going to come here, we're going to create a component set with this component set. So once I create a component set, I'll call this one maybe default, and I'll call this one, and no, this one will be default and this one will be hover. So I can say expand, collapse, anyone you call it. So I'll call this one hover, right? So make sure you name them differently, because when you are working with Figma, you have to be able to, with Figma components, you name your components so that you won't have issues with your components. So let's quickly switch to prototype mode so that we can do a little bit of connection and see if this works. So I'll switch to while hovering. Then I'm going to change it to ease out. Ease out is good. Then smart animate and ease out. And while hovering, that's all. Then we don't need to return the favor because it's hover. Once the mouse leaves, it goes back to this. So that's one advantage of using the hover effect. So I'll bring this one out. Then I'll draw a frame behind it. So why I'm drawing a frame behind it is because I want to test it in the preview. I want to present it and test it to see if it works. So when I do this, it's displayed, right? It works. So that's what we want to achieve. You can see that the image zooms out a bit and goes back in. So I can just move this to this place, and can you see? So let's proceed to the next stage of this. So you can still leave that one like that. So we can delete this too. I'll just put it on one side. Then we're going to make a duplicate of this. We're going to make a duplicate of this. So we can call this one picture one. Then we'll now call this one picture two, right? So for picture two, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to the same thing we did to picture one. The way we moved, we can delete this and bring the second image. So the way we copied the fill of this and pasted it there, that's the same thing we're going to do. So we'll paste it here. So note that when you create a component, it kind of wraps your initial frame inside another frame. So I'm going to open this. Okay, it's seeing my normal frame as a frame now. So this is the field. So I'll just paste it. I'll just Control V. So you can see that this image is compressed, but don't worry, we're going to fix it. So we just delete the former one. Then we'll do the same for this. And yes, we'll remove it. So here we are going to change this to fill instead of crop. We'll change it to fill. So once we change it to fill, we are good to go. We don't need to touch it. So this is where we need. I think this one has even done the justice already, but let's see. It's already in crop and it has done the same thing we did to this. It has done it, so we don't need to touch it. So we can just move to the next picture, which is picture 3. So I'm just going to make a duplicate. So note that when I'm making a duplicate, the icon beside the picture, they are still looking like this like this diamond. They are not looking like this. Look at the difference. So you can see they are looking like a component. This is a variant and this is a component, which means this is a child of a mother component. So we cannot use this. We can only duplicate this for this purpose. So we are still going to combine them as variants later, but we want to create the 3 first. So we're done with the picture 2. So we're going to picture 3. So we delete this and bring the third picture. Bring the third picture. Then we'll copy the image. The same thing we did to the first and second image. We're going to paste here, just like that. And we'll delete the initial one. Paste and remove. So you can see that this is already filling. So I think this is already showing what we want already, right? So now the next thing we're going to do now is to place these items inside it. So and if you notice, there's a part of the image that is dark. So let's do justice to that first. So how I got that effect, because I saw it on the image, because this is another thing that you can learn. Because when you create an image and you don't want to write the content under it, you want to write it inside the image. Because images can come in different colors and different styles. Sometimes it affects the contrast of the text. So that is why the lead or the dark shade is applied on top of the image, so that any text that's written on the image will still show regardless of the color of the image. So that is the whole point of adding this. So we're going to do the same. So let's check the size of this again. 502 by 590. So we're going to draw a rectangle that has the same size and the same corner radius, and we're going to place it directly on top of it. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. So this is 502 by 590. 502 by 590. Then it has 20 pixel corner radius. Then we are going to copy it. So let's rename it first. Let's call it lead. Let's just call it a lead. A lead is kind of like a cover. That's what the word lead means. So we're just going to don't let me drag it inside so that you understand where I place it. So I'm going to copy it, Control C. Then I'm going to click on the first one, which is the hoover. Then I'll just press Control V. So let's just place this at the center, like this vertical and horizontal center. So you can see that it's matching the height and width of the frame. So but it's covering everything. So we want to first change it to black. So the kind of black we want to use, we just want to use a black that kind of looks like the one on this button. So I'm just going to pick this color. So that's it. So it's not black per se, it's just like navy blue. So I'm going to come here and change this field to a gradient, right? Then I will switch the darker one down like this. So the lighter one is up, the darker one is down. Then I'm going to copy the color code for the darker one and paste it for the lighter one. So both of them have the same color, but for the transparency of the first one, the upper one, I'm going to turn it down to 0. Then I'm going to leave this the darker one here. Although I think this is not dark enough, so maybe we should just move this down slightly like this to make it look very black somewhere here. So I think this is good. So I'm going to reduce the point, the position of this gradient. I'm going to move it to 50% so that it just covers like the gradient starts from here and stops here. So here upward there's no gradient. So we have 50%, and we might want to bring the darker side a bit forward so that it covers. Okay, there's no need to bring it forward because it covers the larger part. So let's increase the gradient of this. Okay, I think 0 is good enough, so we can proceed. So 0 is good enough. So let's copy this. So you can see the lead on the layer panel. I'm going to copy the lead. I'll just copy. Then I'm going to come to this second one and paste it here. So when I paste it, it's obviously wider than the frame. So I'm just going to bring it down to the size of the frame. Then I'm going to do the same for this. For this, Control V. Then I'll do the same for this, Control V. So I'm going to come here, pick this one, the slimmer, the lead that is slim for the smaller frame. I'm going to copy it, Control C, then paste, Control V, then paste, Control V. So now I have it on the 3 images. So in the I think this is actually picture 2, not picture 3. This is picture 2 because it's the second one on the design. I'll confirm now. This is picture 3. This one is supposed to be picture 3. So let's switch their positions. So yes, I'm correct. So this is picture 1, picture 2, and picture 3. So we have something else here, which I created it already. So you can also create your own. I don't think I need to explain how you create this again. So I'm going to copy this, right? Then I'll place it. So note that on that design, I'm also going to attach the link to this website in case you want to see it for yourself. So on this design, this first one doesn't have this state, and that's because this button is overlapping the card. So that's why it doesn't have. That's why it doesn't have this small one. So that means that on this one there will be a slightly different settings than these two. These two we have the same, but this one we have a slightly different setting. So I'm going to bring this. I'm just going to place it inside here. So let me know. I don't like dragging it like that. Let me just cut it, then show you how I pasted it inside. So I will select hover, then I'll paste, Ctrl V. Now I'm purposely moving it a bit to this side because that button will sit in this space here. But for that, we have to expand it and place it at the center. So I'll copy this again, then I'll place it here. Then I can expand this one. So and notice that the spacing I have is automatic spacing. So that means it's space between. So I don't need to worry about the gap between them. So I'm just going to place it at the center just like this. I think I'll expand it more, a little bit more. I'm using my Alt key. I'm holding my Alt key while I'm expanding it. Then I'll copy this again, Ctrl C. Then I'll paste it here again, Ctrl V. So, but the difference is here now. This is going to be design course, and this one will be business course, right? So then I'm now going to pick the third element which we have here. So I'm going to copy this, right? So I'll just call this one label, or maybe title label, anyone you call it, as long as something that you just understand and anybody can understand. So I'll cut it, then I'll paste it inside this one. So again, I told you that this one doesn't have, so we don't need to paste it inside this one. So is this true that it's supposed to have its Control V? So design. So we might want to increase the size a bit. So this is 34. Okay. So I want to increase the size of this rectangle a bit. Just and place this one at the center, just like that. And I'm going to copy this one, and I'm going to paste it in the third one. So after pasting it in this third one, then I think we are almost done. So I'm going to change this text design to business. Yes. So just like we have it here, and you see, so they have writing here. I just purposely change it to design because here too they have writing code. So I don't want to have writing, and business. I just change it to writing, design, and business. Right. So now that we're done with these three, let's test our design again. Let's test this one again. Maybe it will give us what we want. Can you see? It's showing the course, whatever. So let's copy another one and paste it inside that frame and see if it works. Control V. Can you see? So we're on track. So what we'll now do now is to because this is Hoover and default, so we want to combine these three components into one single component. Although we actually don't really need to do that, it's not compulsory because we can actually move forward with this. So what we are going to do is I'm going to bring out the first one. So now I'm bringing a variant of picture one, right? So this is a variant of picture one. Yeah. Then I'll do the same for picture two, and I'll do the same for picture three. I'm just bringing out a variant of each of them. Now let me delete this. So we are going to combine these three in the same auto layout frame. So I just applied auto layout. So I will change the gap to 40. Now here for the default state of this, so we can call this one image slider or whatever, image slider or image slide. Yeah. So I'm going to change this one to Hoover. It would have been nice to default rather. Let's just continue. So forget about what the name Figma is giving it here. Just leave it. So we're going to come here. I think this. So we're going to create another component. So this way we're going to have our second component. So we have created the base component. So we need to create the second component. So I'm going to drag this and place it here. So image slide. Then I'll create a component with it. Then inside that component, I'm going to add a variant. Then I'm going to add another variant. So why I'm adding variants is because I want to have three types of this same component. So I want to increase the gap between the variants like this, and I'll click this to wrap it. So on the first one, I want this to be expanded, and on the second one, I want this to be expanded and this to be closed like this. Then on the third one, I want this to be expanded and this to be closed. So now you can see that we have three states of the component. So all we have to do now is to just connect. So we'll switch to prototype mode again. Then I'll come and click on design hover. So when I hover on this, I want this whole component to change to this. So I'll say while hovering. Okay. So there is a small mistake here. So because we have already created that hover effect here, we're not going to be able to create it here. So we have to remove it here first because the whole point of creating it here was because I wanted to test it out. So let me remove it. So we just call this one 1, 2, and 3. No, not 2 again, just 3. So, okay, so I'm now going to try the prototype mode again. So I'll change this to while hovering, right? Then I'll leave it on smart animate and ease out. Then 500 milliseconds is okay. So you see this interaction now. I've created the interaction that when you hover on this, it will change to this. So I can copy it. I'll just press Ctrl C and okay, copy. Then I will paste it on this place again because I want it to be able to change at any time. So I'll paste it. Why is it not pasting? Oh, oh. So instead of it to paste my interaction, it just keeps pasting another version of the component. Okay, so I'm going to just copy Ctrl C, not right click, don't right click. So I thought if you right click, you can click it, but when I press Ctrl C and Ctrl V, you see that the same interaction is added to this. Then we're going to do the same for this. But this time it's this turned on because this is where this image is expanded. So we say while hovering, Then we leave everything as that. Then we'll copy this again and we'll paste it for this one. Then lastly, we'll do this one, this image from here to here while hovering. Then we'll copy this again. Then we'll paste it for the third one, right? So, but this is where we are always going to start. Then every other one can come after. So, because we are using the while hovering trigger, it's always going to go back to this. So that's what we want. So I'm going to copy this one. I'm now going to use it to replace what we have inside this page. Then I'll just click like this. Then I'm going to paste to replace. So if you don't know the shortcut paste to replace, look at it. Look at it. Control Shift plus R. So I'm going to paste to replace, and we have our image slide here. So I'm going to present this to see how it looks, so that when I hover, you can see. When I hover on this, you can see. So this is how you can use Figma to create the over effects that you saw at the beginning on the website. So let me know if you enjoyed this video, if I should create something that looks like this again. There's another type of image carousel that you can use for gallery sections in the website, which I think I should create, but I want to get validation from you. Let me know if you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed it, just give this video a thumbs up, and you can share, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because you're going to get more Figma tutorials from me, and we're going to learn together and grow together. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the very next video.